Hello, I'm Alex Karekis from the Finding Lost Civilization series. For those of you who have been following me in Nevada, I'm in a town called Alamo in the Faramaget Valley. I sometimes mess that name up and call it the Pomegranate Valley, but anyways, there's a fabulous petroglyph site here called Mount Irish. Now I was up there a day ago and I went up to this big boulder called Paiute boulder that had many symbols on there. And when I came across the boulder after looking to some really ancient symbols, I saw the initials AJH with the year 1949. Darn it, I thought, you know, the rock has been desecrated, but 1949, I said I'll forgive the poor soul. So anyways, I came back to the Alamo Inn and I talked to the owner, Vern. And Vern told me, he says, "Did you see some initials up on that boulder?" I said, "Yes, I did." And he says, "Well, I can tell you how they got there." So I've got Vern over here, and let's go to Vern and let him share his story with us, okay?
Yeah, it's interesting that you found those, you know. A lot of people see that, you know, and I always ask them if they've seen it. And the reason is because the NH with the 49 by it is my father. And when he was in high school in 1949, his grandfather, which is my great-grandfather, Andrew Jackson Richard, he took him up there and they had to do some work on some mining claims up there that they had. So they went up and did their work, and my dad said they were up there about a week camping, and they one day took the time at lunchtime to carve their initials into the rock. So I always ask people if they've seen it, you know, and let them check it out. And I've talked to some archaeologists who, you know, saying, hey, you know, we kind of desecrated it, but they say, well, that's historic now, so it kind of fits in with the whole thing. So, you know, I don't advocate doing that kind of stuff, you know, but for my father, you know, 60 years ago or so, that was a pretty neat deal. So it's always good to see.
Now, what does AJH stand for?
It's actually AJR.
Oh, AJR.
Andrew Jackson Richard. That was my great-grandfather. He came here in the late 1800s, you know, as a young man, and, you know, just kind of worked his way around doing this and that, and ended up actually being the state senator from this part of the country.
Oh, my goodness.
And was up at Carson City, one of the state representatives from this area. So it's kind of a neat history.
Yeah, neat history, yeah.
Here a long time,
now, your father's initials were?
NH for Newton Holiday.
You know, I tell you, I love this. You know, one of the great things about finding lost civilizations is sometimes finding the convergence of the old and the present, or the new. And so here I was looking at this rock, Paiute rock, with all these old ancient petroglyphs, and I saw these initials. And, you know, 1949, I was kind of partial to those initials because I was born in 1949, and I was thinking to myself, I would really like to know what the history, you know, who came up here and put their initials on. Of course, 1,000 years from now, that 1949 engraving or that petroglyph will be considered ancient, you know. So, as I said, what's great, you know, is seeing the past, and let's call it the present, and then getting this history. We come across these initials on petroglyphs all the time, but my God, actually finding out what the history of the marking is and meet someone that's connected to it is really great. So, anyways, I wanna thank Vern for his story. Now, can you tell us where we're at right now?
We're at the Alamo Inn. This is a little motel here in town. I wanted to move back here to be close to my parents and raise my kids here, so I bought myself a job. You know, so it just keeps me busy enough, you know, and pays for itself. And I get to meet nice people and fun people all the time, so I truly enjoy this.
Well, this is really great. You know, when I didn't know anything about Alamo, and you know, I think there's only 2 inns or motels in the town, but I was lucky to get a hold of Vern, and so if anybody's traveling to Alamo to look at petroglyphs, I encourage them.
Hey, na pun chau kha man ri